So the item recovery has become another popular topic featured for Star Citizen. It is currently being tested, and in its form right now, it allows full gear recovery, excluding inventory items. So this means we will be able to keep the armors, weapons, medpens, grenades, tools, and everything else attached to the gear. And this also includes the weapon you are holding in your hands at the final moments. If you did have spare mags or medpens in pockets, this won't be recovered. And looting any of that gear is not allowed. So you are blocked off from picking up these gear pieces and weapons. This does sound a bit too good. It is the first form of item recovery, and is extremely likely to get adjusted. My main concern is more oriented towards the freedom of this game. I think this limits the game for those who enjoy a bit of PvP or explore the world and discover players' last stand, thus possibly finding something of value even if it is only armors and weapons. Perhaps from another good perspective, it allows us to skip the steps of gearing our character again and thus spending less time and money on this process. The less time we need to spend on re-equipping and restocking is good. Yet I think this could have been done via some other different method, as I will get to keep my money and there will be very mild setback. This will definitely affect the gear players store at locations, weapons as well. If you have been buying the weapons and gear, this can save you quite a bit. I do like the idea of item recovery. I don't think it should apply to every piece of armor, weapons and other items. Instead, it could work like insurance. Have your set on, pick it out yourself, and insure it. This way you could get all the selected gear items you have equipped insured, and upon your character's uneventful or eventful end, might get re-equipped or stored at some terminal for you to instantly recover. I say this because they also want to add specialized gear in the future. I think it is more important to exclude those items, and if it will remain in any form, it should probably only apply to common gear. Or why not item recovery dispensers for gear sets and weapons you have gotten or bought with real money? Separate recovery option for those. I think insurance is the best solution for all of it, as the gear gets dropped and can be looted by other players while you can get the same set in return. Everyone walks away at least somewhat happy. Perhaps they even do have that in mind, but for the time being are offering this simple solution of full item or equipment recovery. I do see the value in it as the game is in alpha, so we want to spend the least amount of time dealing with BS the game throws at us, be it bugs, other players, or just something else that ends up being very punishing. So we could get back into the game ASAP, but it definitely needs some proper balancing, as we do not want the specialized gear to be on the same boat as every other item which cannot be obtained. Or if an organization battle becomes a thing, this could end up benefiting a combat scenario for defensive players where they just respawn in full gear and get right back into action. There are many directions which need to be considered in the final form of balancing item recovery. For example, how will this work with custom or shipped medbeds? Should there be some limitations? How would this work in most areas? Let's say a lawful system versus unlawful system. What about the contested zones, the items we get from there? There are rather many questions regarding this item recovery in its planned form, because we also don't want to see item duplication. I don't think anyone really cares about duplicating some light armor or some random set which we can buy at every vendor or every other vendor. This is why I think the end goal should be insurance to all non-specialized gear and weapons. Spending something like 50 to 100k for a month of gear insurance for your selected pieces and weapon. Well, that is just how I would see it most optimally work in perfect or near ideal scenario. Sure, we could have this currently planned recovery for account-bound gear sets and weapons, as why should someone else be able to access those? So these weapons and armors would or should remain unlootable. That is another topic to discuss. If anyone else here has a well-balanced idea, I'm all ears, and I'm pretty sure the developers will be listening to the feedback on this with great interest. Since we are in alpha and considering the state of the game, I think it's actually okay for the time being. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching!